It's not quite the snow drought which plagued Montana 2 years ago, but the Treasure State's high country has been plagued with a winter that just can't seem to stay in gear. Ever since October, our high country has been seeing regular, although somewhat inconsistent storms. The problem has been that those bouts of cold have been followed by even longer stretches of mild and often wet weather, with snow levels going right back to over 7,000 feet and erasing the progress. By mid-December, the trend was very noticeable.
While the mild temperatures of the past week have been very comfortable, certainly conducive to cutting your Christmas tree, it hasn't done any favors for our snowpack. In fact, if you look at the high peaks, you'll notice we have to start all over again.
And that happened with the first full legitimate blast of snow, at least at elevation. The problem is it just doesn't seem to last. Snowtel sites in December, which show those critical measurements of snowpack, the snow water equivalent, didn't look very good, while the Beartooth Plateau showed some stations as high as 120% of normal. Most of the other ranges, like the Tobacco Roots, Gravelies, the Sapphires, Bitterroot Range, and other stations in the peaks of northwest Montana, showed many locations with little more than half, and in some case less than half, of the readings that would be normal at this point of the winter. But gradually, we have been making up ground over the past 3 weeks. Although the National Weather Service says December was the second warmest on record in Missoula and a variable La Nina weather pattern has dominated the weather this year, we're doing better than you might expect. The latest map this week from the Natural Resources Conservation Service shows some marked improvement. The Bitterroot, the Upper Clark Fork, and the Flathead are finally close or even above 100%, and there's been a huge improvement in the Sun, Teton, Marias Basin, which is now showing 122% of normal. One of the biggest pieces of good news is that for the first time in a couple of years, the Blackfoot Basin, including Powell, Northern Lewis and Clark, and eastern Missoula counties, are off the drought list. Sections of Teton and Choteau counties are still experiencing extreme drought. The bigger question is what happens after additional snowfall here at the beginning of January, because the extended outlook is for a very strong ridge of high pressure to dominate the west weather for the foreseeable future. In Missoula, Dennis Bragg, Montana News Now.